The Dayton City Commission meeting will now come to order. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. This evening, invocation will be given by Commissioner Shaw.
Dear God, help us to become humble servants to those in need of our encouragement and help. We ask for a servant's heart to serve others humbly and faithfully. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Blackshear, may I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Okay, may I have a motion then to excuse Mr. Joseph from this evening's meeting?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to excuse Commissioner Joseph from this evening's meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay, may I have a motion then to approve the minutes from the October 22nd meeting?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the October 22nd meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. So presentations, Ms. Blackshear. First of all, we have any additional communications?
No communications or petitions, John.
Okay. So I have two presentations this evening. So one, Commissioner Shaw, please proceed.
Yes, so thank you, Mayor, for that. I had the opportunity this afternoon to meet with the Civic Leadership Program, and they are in attendance here today. We discussed issues regarding city government and how to get involved in your city and make things happen. Very impressed with this group of people that are so engaged in our community, and this is the future. And I hope more folks get involved in NLI and also this great civic leadership program. So I would just like to ask them to stand to be recognized so that we can say thank you for coming. And Maddie White is in the back, and she kind of leads the group and kind of made all this happen today. So thank you so much, Maddie, and for everyone else that participated.
Okay, good. Thank you all for being here. Okay, next presentation, Mr. Steve Gondo, the update in terms of all the work that's being done in those spaces.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and Clerk.
Evening.
Steve Gondo, Director for the Department of Planning, Neighborhoods, and Development, with your Dayton Recovery Plan demolition update for the month of September 2025. All right, so last month we saw 30 structures removed. 27 of those were with the ARPA funding, 3 were with the general funds. That brings our total to date for 2025 up to 220 structures removed, and again, the bulk of those being funded through our ARPA funds. So really another strong month. The August demolitions were also at 30, so our pacing is right on point there. So really pleased with the work we did, and much more to come later in this presentation. At the end of August, we had 46 piles. We made a lot of progress. We were able to remove 10 of those piles. In the month, we only had 2 piles added for the month of September. So we ended September with 38 piles remaining. And right now, as we think about the pile work, the crews are down in the Negley, Riverview area working on those piles. So they kind of were up in the Santa Clara, Riverdale area. Now they're back down, handling a number of those remaining piles in that area. As you can see here, the 2 piles, the 2 emergency demolitions for the month of September, those were 160 Parkwood and 3305 East 5th. So unfortunately, but also again, keeping those numbers low. We've had a few months here where we're actually fortunate we only had 0. All right, for the month of September, You'll see the bulk of our work was in the southern Dayton View area and the Santa Clara neighborhood, with another kind of catch-up on piles over in the Springfield and Burkhardt area. So that's kind of what you're seeing there. So again, keeping with a few remaining in kind of the ARPA focus areas, but really getting to those kind of next areas that we had talked about outside of there, and just concentrating that work in one geographic area. There's actually a lot of efficiencies there with the crews kind of actually getting to more properties than kind of jumping around the city. And then to date, you'll see that, again, really pleased with that, those 220 demolitions, not just touching just the ARPA focus areas, but really almost a high number of our communities that have had, were beneficiaries of the work so far this year. For the month of September, we added 12 properties to the structural nuisance list. I want to give you some background on those. 5 of those were houses, 6 were garages, and 1 was a commercial structure. 7 out of those 12 were due to fire of some nature, or fire reported it to us for the driver of the structural nuisance. 5 of those 12 were due to blight or neglect. Our pipeline, again, we have made pretty significant strides earlier in the year, so you're seeing more of we kind of taper back on the title work, even the asbestos surveying. We're moving into asbestos remediation, again, preparing, another batch of properties for removal. So most of that work was around the remediation. And now for where we have been. So you'll see here, as I mentioned, up in the Santa Clara area, 3234 West Hudson, 3941 West Hudson, just a small sampling of a number of the demolitions up in that immediate area. 112, 114 West Hudson, and 145 Victor. So again, a lot of that work concentrated in the area. At the Monday night Neighborhood Presidents Forum, I definitely was hearing from some neighborhood leaders up in that area that they were seeing the work, not just that we were doing, but that our colleagues in Public Works, Brian Dom's street maintenance, doing. I know they cleared out the Marathon Commons, which was, I wanted to take that. I was credited for it by a neighborhood leader, but I had to give credit to Public Works. That was their contract, and they did a great job up there. So collectively, between us and Public Works, hearing the feedback from the neighborhood presidents that they're actually, seeing the work, feeling good about what's coming out of that.
And Mr. Condo, just for a second.
Yes.
For those who are watching, who are new here, just want to let you know that the pictures that you see are both the before and after. So just to have some context.
That's right. So this next one, in that 30, we had some pretty significant ones that I'm going to call out here extra because it not only took extra collaboration, funds, focus, but I credit our staff for really identifying these opportunities. The first one, 2934 Salem, Buckeye Cleaners. That was a joint effort, not just us, with our colleagues in water, with the EPA, around a really bad situation that, I remember it caught fire, and we've had an opportunity to actually clear the site. We kept the concrete in place, the agreement, but we actually got all of that debris. The reason on the left why I framed that box there is we did all of that. So while you might have seen, I originally had the photo of just the storefront. That was really misleading. If you went back in there, that complex went all the way down to the edge of that orange line. So it was significant. The number of structures, the complex that existed there, and the fact that they worked to get all of that down to the concrete base, which was the agreement and direction from the EPA. So that was, at their direction, was to get it down to that point. So we got all of that cleared out on Buckeye Cleaners. The next one, 111 Rosedale, that was a multi-unit building, obviously affecting the community there, and just dramatic improvement after removing that. 1738 Howe. So this also, I had to do a double take because I'm thinking James H. McGee, which is the trolley barn. Yeah. The address is on Howe, but really significant structure. Unique opportunity to really leverage some assets. So we got that down, and it just, what you're looking there in that photo is kind of down south, just immediately opened up that whole area there. Really unique structure, but had been vacated since the 70s and had just deteriorated beyond repair. And then lastly, 1615 Tacoma. This site has been problematic the last few years. It's right in the middle. I feel like in the Heights neighborhood, and we have worked just finding, ways to try to hold owners accountable, but to mitigate at least the fire damage and the debris portion, and similar to the Buckeye cleaners, able to get everything above the concrete cleared out. And so huge, and especially this one, I mean, it is right in the middle of the neighborhood. And so I think these are some really key successes, significant improvements in these communities. And so there's more to be done, but the worst part of it has been removed from site. And so with that, I have nothing further. I'll take any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate this, as always. Commissioner Turner-Sloss, any questions, comments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Gondel, for your briefing this afternoon, or this evening, rather, excuse me. I really appreciate all of your great work, and please extend our appreciation to the entire staff. Just a couple questions. Could you elaborate a little bit on 2934 Salem? And you said their agreement with EPA to remove the structure down to the concrete, because it looks unfinished, and then it also is a hazard.
So the nature of that as a industrial or commercial cleaner, there were some sensitivities and concerns by the EPA around any kind of chemicals and other solutions used there. They did do a great job of removing everything that was above, like either above tanks and all that, but they directed us to just get it to the concrete until they could maybe either further study it before, because sometimes the concrete serves as either a barrier for anything coming up or anything going down. And so that's one where I said we're not done, but we're in further communication. Again, the EPA, with consultation with water and us, was kind of telling us, okay, you can do this much. There's an active case against the owner. Now I would say his estate, as he has since passed. So we were able to do at least that much, which we felt was better than, there's just a lot of concerns with the structure as it was, with individuals going into it, potentially falling. I mean, if you see it now, you'll see all of the various sub-basements. And so the agreement was get it to this point, and then we will look bigger with the EPA as to how they might help us with a proper cleanup, if that's possible.
Okay. Is there something that we can do to help with the aesthetics of the property, so that, again, because the way that it looks in the current condition that it is in, it does still pose a safety hazard and
So
concern.
I'll go back to the team and ask them to get back with our colleagues at the EPA to ask that question about what
I appreciate
we might be
that.
able to do.
And then we have a timeline, or is there additional funding that we're going after? What is the timeline, and can we make sure that this is a priority? And if you can just provide us with some background information once you had an opportunity to work through with your partners. I appreciate it, though. Thank you very much. I know that was a huge lift, so we appreciate it. Thank you. And then thank you again to you and your staff for Fernwood, the 300 Fernwood. The neighbors are ecstatic. They're extremely gracious. And they just wanted to send their thanks as well, and appreciation to you and the staff. So I appreciate you following through with that.
Yeah, the crews did a good job on that one.
Yes,
looks really
they did.
nice.
They really
they
did.
do a good job on all of them, but it is not, obviously the before and after. And I think that actually technically hit early October, so that might make the next month's presentation, because it is really a nice improvement.
Great. And I'm sure this is already on your radar, but 21 Fernwood. I believe it was a fire structure at one point, and so a lot of the structure is in fact caved in.
All right, I'll look into that one and get a follow-up.
And could you go back to 1738, how the trolley, yes. So again, the same concerns there. I think there was still some debris that was left at the site. I don't know if they had an opportunity to go back with the grading and the seating, but you can still see some of the rubble, the bricks.
Yeah, I will get with the team on that, see if we've fully checked off on that one. I do know that, I believe, this was one where we were able to use the bricks. Yeah, we were able to, we realized that the Dunbar Museum needed some masonry repair, and Ken Jackson, my supervisor for nuisance abatement, realized that the bricks at that building were near perfect fits for the museum.
That is
so we were able
Wow.
to actually take those bricks and they used them there. So
That is
not
great.
all- yeah,
Word.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's-
Thank you.
Staff is, like I said, they really know these. They see it more than we see it. So that was one where we took something out of that and put to good use at the museum.
Excellent. Thank you.
And I will follow up on that site.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, good. Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah, no, thank you, Commissioner, for your questions. Mr. Gondo, my first thought was, you're back so soon? It seemed like you were just up here.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the month went. It's five
is.
Wednesdays in this one, so, thank you for this report. More importantly, thank you to your team for the work. These reports, I think, are very helpful for us and the community to know, to see this tangible work evolving, and, really appreciate it. Thank you.
I agree.
I'm a little anxious that as we get to cold weather, we're going to see more fire piles and,
Yeah, like I said, we'll keep up with our partnerships and, just kind of keep ensuring, the boardings and everything, the communication, so we try to keep those numbers low.
and while you're here, comprehensive housing survey, is that about ready to start?
Oh, the housing condition survey?
Yeah.
Yep. We're just actually pitching the app. They're underway and out. The app is going live, and so, well, for the staff to use. So we are going to have a very fun November.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
You good? Mr. Shaw.
A lot of good questions and answered a lot of mine. I just, too, wanted to say this is so transformational, especially the RTA bus
Barn.
right? Bus barn. I mean, that has been an eyesore that I've had to drive by every day for many, many years. And, coupled with the development that's going on in Germantown Street and in that neighborhood in general, I just think that makes such a huge difference. So I want to thank you for that and for selecting that very challenging site. Same thing with Buckeye Cleaners. I've spent a lot of time in that building, too. And I understand how there are these substructures, these basements and basements below the basements. It's just really a lot. And I know that EPA is challenged to deal with those because we just don't know what's under there. They use perchloroethylene, which is a very dangerous chemical. So, well, good work.
Yeah.
Good
Thank you.
work to your staff, too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, my colleagues have answered or asked a lot of questions, so we're good with that. I do have an address to give you. I'll give it to you later. With someone
Okay.
give me a call about a challenge that they have.
Okay.
We'll make sure we take care of that after the meeting.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay? Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Ms. Dixon, do you have any additions or deletions or comments to the calendar?
Your Honor, I have no additions or deletions to this evening's calendar. I do have a couple of items I would like to highlight, and those are ordinances number 32163-25 and resolution number 6897-25. These are the annual legislation to support the annual budget recommendations. And I will be calling Abby Patel-Jones forward to give a high-level briefing on the budget. But as you all know, our annual budget process aligns the priorities, resources, and outcomes to performance. And this year's budget prioritizes housing investment, demolition, blight remediation, public safety, neighborhood conditions, and youth development and support. So as she walks through some of this high-level stuff, these are obviously priorities that have been priorities for a bit, and but I'm excited to bring this budget recommendation to you all.
Okay,
Thank
good
you,
evening.
City Manager. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Clerk, Abby Jones, Director of Department of Management and Budget. As the City Manager highlighted, we are going to walk through some of the budget highlights this evening related to the first reading of the budget resolution. And so the agenda for today is to review the policy framework, which sets our budget priorities, also the 2026 proposed budget by community priorities, and then we will dive into the additional identified priorities and related funding. We'll also talk through the general fund's major budget solutions, and lastly, we will walk through the legal requirements for passing the 2026 budget resolution and the temporary appropriation. All right, so here is our brief overview of the policy budget framework. As you know, in 2014, the City Commission adopted a new policy budget framework, which is where this policy framework was born from, which included the creation of the 5 community service areas and 14 community priorities. The policy framework starts with gathering input, many different inputs. We collect input from the community. One of our biggest community input is the Dayton survey, which we do on an annual basis. We also gather input from the commission as well as the city manager's office and the organization based on the operational challenges or the operational need. From these inputs, community priorities are developed, and these priorities set program objectives, goals, and activities which are carried out by departments on a daily basis. We measure these activities through our performance management system to evaluate the efficacy, effectiveness, and efficiency of the programs that we provide to our residents on a daily basis. The goal of the performance management system is to drive positive outcomes in the community with the resources provided each year. So as you can see, this is a constant loop where we do the resource allocation, we gather the input, we do the implementation of the program, and we evaluate the program results. Here is the 2026 proposed operating budget by community priorities. As you can see here, these are the 14 community priorities I mentioned. In addition to the 14 community priorities, what you see here is the Your Dollars, Your Neighborhood program, as well as the internal service funds and golf program. For 2026, the total operating budget is $518.9 million, which is $19.7 million higher, or 3.9% higher than 2025's original budget. All right, so now we'll dive into some of those specific investments that are included in 2026 budget. For youth investment, we have $12.1 million for youth programs, services, and infrastructures in several areas across the organization, which includes $4.3 million for the Preschool Promise program, which provides education to 3- and 4-year-olds. In addition to that, we also have $507,000 for youth programming in our recreation department, which includes largely providing services such as the after-school program, aquatic program, and sports programming. We also have $854,000 in various departments across the organization, which includes police and fire's DPS training program. It also includes police's youth spring and summer camps, as well as the annual outdoor youth adventure program that police host for young people coping with anxiety and stress disorder. We also have mediation youth-related activity, where our mediation center provides services to Montgomery County Juvenile Court and child support mediation services. In addition to that, we also have the Mayor's Youth Initiative, where we partner with Learn to Earn. Our water department annually hosts the Children's Water Festival, and we also have the Macintosh and Sochi internship programs. As for the infrastructure, we allocate $244,000 through our Your Dollars, Your Neighborhood program for parks improvement. This is our annual allocation that comes from that 0.25% tax levy that we just passed recently a year ago. We also have $6.2 million remaining in our Dayton recovery plan, which includes parks and spray park improvements of $5 million. We have housing for families with young children, the remaining funding in DRP, which is nearly $700,000. And we also have Family Center, Child Care Center, and Pop-Up Preschool program, which is approximately $510,000 that's remaining in the DRP. For the Violence Reduction and Mediation Response Unit, for 2026, we have $473,000 that's allocated for the implementation of Cure Violence Program. As you know, the approval for this, you all approved it in September of 2025. The implementation will continue into 2026. This program is coordinated by GADAHA. As you know, the GADAHA has issued an RFP for a community-based organization, which will hire a program manager, trained outreach workers, and violence interrupters. The focus of this program is to intervene high-risk individuals, including youth, to reduce community violence. For our mediation response unit, it's a nearly $800,000 increase in 2026. As you know, we have the mediation response unit program active in our community for the past few years. The program was initially funded from grant funding. We received $1.5 million from the state of Ohio, which was funded from the ARPA funding. So state of Ohio was a pass-through entity, which provided the funding for 2023 to 2025. Starting with 2026, we have sunsetted that grant funding. Therefore, the program is being funded from the general fund. It includes 7 full-time positions with a cost of nearly $700,000, and $95,000 is for contracts and material to support the operation. We also have added cost in 2026 for our permitting process to improve the efficiency and timeliness of the permitting process. As you can see here, it's a nearly $500,000 increase, which includes $319,000 for 3 additional positions, including an inspector, residential construction specialist, and a planner. In addition to that, we also have $130,000 for contracted services to expedite the plan's review. As for the technology improvement, we have budgeted for $49,000 for software implementation, which is funded through CDBG to enable the electronic document review. So this will also help with our digitization of the building services plans examination process. Demolition and vacant property investment, as you can see here on the screen, $10.1 million is to address the demolition, which includes $7.3 million, which is remaining in the Dayton Recovery Plan. That is 2 things, $5.7 million directly for demolition, as well as $1.6 million for historic stabilization. In addition to that, DRP also includes a nearly $1 million for fire pile removal. And then we have our annual funding of $1 million that comes from the general fund for demolition. In addition to that, we have our annual funding that comes from CDBG in the amount of $850,000. $1.9 million is for vacant property reuse and improvement, which includes $644,000 for vacant lot management program. This is our annual allocation through our Your Dollars, Your Neighborhood. In addition to that, Dayton Recovery Plan includes vacant lot cleanup and tree lawn program of $822,000. That is inclusive of $456,000 to remove debris and brush on vacant lot, as well as $366,000 for tree and stump removal across the city. We also have $459,000 remaining in the Dayton Recovery Plan for vacant lot and property improvement program. This is really 2 things. One is the hydroponics farm on formerly vacant lots in Edgemont neighborhood by 5 Rivers Health Center is approximately $400,000. This includes construction of a multi-purpose community room, plus fencing, plus environmental education for the neighborhood. And then the second program is managed by the Conscious Connect Redevelopment Corporation, which constructed West Dayton Pocket Park. We converted 5 blighted properties into Pocket Park, so this is a good news story. As for our housing investment, so starting with our federal dollars, $2 million are for housing improvement, which includes the CDBG housing improvement of $1 million. This is awarded every 2 years to support housing investments aligned with city's HUD action plan. Starting in 2024, CDBG competitive process has been reallocated for housing. And so approximately half of this funding will be set aside each year, which will give us a full $1 million every 2 years. 2025's competitive process is underway. Next allocation will be available in 2027. And so the 2025 competitive process, the funding is coming from 2024-2025 CDBG dollars, and it will be awarded in December of 2025. Next, we have approximately $1 million that is funded from home. The projects listed under the home category are some of the examples of the projects that we have funded through our home program. We get an annual allocation of approximately $1 million. These projects are mainly long-term projects, and we utilize the funding to fill the funding gap. The length of the project or the length of the allocation is a longer term, where we get, for home-funded projects, we get 4 years to award and 4 years to complete. Continuing with our housing investment, we have $18 million for housing investment, which includes grant-funded projects of 7.8. The Dayton Recovery Plan includes $9.6 million that's currently remaining to be spent on housing. And in addition to that, we also have our Your Dollars, Your Neighborhood, which is $650,000. This will fund single-family owner-occupied, single-family owner-occupied exterior repairs, targeting specifically moderate-income families. It also leverages, which you have heard about, almost $7 million in state funding through Montgomery County Land Bank's Welcome Home program. And so below that, we have listed or bucketed, so to speak, the different housing projects into low income, affordable, and market rate. Starting with low income, this is where our grant funding comes in. We have $2.6 million allocated for the home repair and energy efficiency. This is funded from AES settlement. The total AES settlement is $8.6 million, so $5.2 million will be awarded in the next 2 years. This program is managed by DERN, which is Dayton Home Repair Network, and as you know, DERN is a partnership between Habitat for Humanities, Miami Valley Community Action Partnership, Rebuilding Together, and County Corp. As for our Dayton Recovery Plan funded projects, we have remaining $300,000 that is for new single-family homes in Wolf Creek neighborhood. This project is also leveraging $800,000 in home funding. We also have $2 million set aside for the Center City Housing Project, which is also leveraging home funding in $2 million. And then we have $500,000 for new housing for kinship care family, which is also leveraging home funding of $1.65 million. In our affordable housing bucket category, all of these projects are currently funded from the Dayton Recovery Plan. And as you can see, we have approximately $200,000 remaining for the Hoover Flats, which provides housing for seniors. $1.5 million for Longfellow Midtown, also a senior housing project. Almost $150,000 for Twin Towers Tomorrow, which is a renovation of the East End Community Center. We also have a little over $100,000 for Rebuilding Together home repair program. We have a small amount remaining for Habitat for Humanity's roof repair program, which is about $36,000. $155,000 is for new homes that are built by Habitat for Humanities in Edgemont neighborhood. And then we have almost $150,000 for owner-occupied home repairs managed by County Corp. And $246,000 or almost $247,000 for down payment assistance program, which is also managed by County Corp. As for our market rate, these are also Dayton Recovery Plan funded projects. We have $1.3 million that is managed by Civitas Development. This is a new single-family home project in Old North Dayton. We also have $388,000 remaining for the flats development. This is the pre-development work in South Park neighborhood. And then we have $1.2 million that is managed by County Corp for a new single-family home project in Wolf Creek neighborhood. In addition to the housing projects that I just mentioned, we have funding that is supporting housing in the Dayton Recovery Plan, which includes $1.2 million for the Wolf Creek Levee Program. This will provide funding to connect the neighborhood, Wolf Creek neighborhood, with the Wolf Creek waterway and improve the flood protection system in that specific neighborhood. And then we also have the $200,000 for the civil administrative hearing process for housing code enforcement. In addition to our housing improvement program, we also have funding for homelessness prevention and support. This is funded from our federal dollars. As you can see here, almost $400,000 is from ESG, or Emergency Solutions Grant, which supports prevention, diversion, and rapid rehousing services provided by Homeful. It helps individuals and families avoid homelessness and quickly secure stable housing. We also have emergency shelter operation, which is nearly $300,000. The shelter operation provides essential shelter for men, women, and families experiencing homelessness, and it also maintains safe, accessible spaces while connecting residents to case management and support. And then we have $2.9 million in our Continuum of Care program, which funds rental assistance for formerly homeless individuals with disabilities, and it supports the long-term housing stability through wraparound services and case management via Miami Valley Housing Opportunities. To talk through some of our public safety investment, in our 2026 budget, fire department has a total budget of $53.7 million. It includes the continuation of the cross-staffing of Engine 10, which is approximately $1.1 million. This includes 12 firefighter positions that we added in 2024, and so we're continuing this in 2026 to support the service. It also includes $1.7 million for a recruit class to maintain the minimum staffing and service level, and an additional $539,000 for overtime to ensure that minimum staffing requirements are met on a daily basis. For our police department, the total budget for the police department for 2026 is $71.1 million, which includes $6.6 million for 2 recruit classes, same as 2025. This is so that we can increase the staffing level and maintain service delivery. And police department also includes $200,000 in additional overtime so that we can make sure the staffing needs are met on a daily basis. On the left-hand side, or I should say on the right-hand side, you see the chart, which shows our general fund expenditures for personnel and all other uses. And as you can see, because we are a service delivering organization, majority of our expenses are in personnel. Out of the total general fund budget, 71% is spent towards personnel and 29% is spent towards contracts and material and other investments. And just to show you, the service-facing departments are Public Works, Police, and Fire. Those are our 3 largest departments that provide services in the community. The 3 largest departments total 73% of the total budget. So as you can see, they take a big chunk of the general funds budget, as opposed to the remaining 15 or 16 departments, however you want to count it, is only 27% of the total general fund budget. Here we have our 2026 general funds major budget solutions. Without the budget solutions, we would not have been able to balance the budget. This is a nearly $15 million budget solution. Most of these budget solutions are one-time, such as the health insurance holiday. This is our last year to have the health insurance holiday, which is approximately $1.5 million. We are also utilizing our one-time sources that we received from the 2019 tornado of $1.3 million to balance the budget. In addition to that, we have been fortunate enough to earn interest on the ARPA funding that we received from the federal government, so we're utilizing $5 million of that ARPA interest earnings, as well as nearly $4 million of the use of cash reserve. We also ask departments to look in their department to see where we can do some cuts across the organization so that we can balance the budget. Those cuts equals to $766,000. We also cut our investments, specifically the development fund, capital projects, and capital equipment, which also funds technology, each by $150,000. Therefore, you see the $450,000 cut in the investments. We also adjusted our fringe rates. This is a one-time adjustment, and we make those adjustments based on the trends. That is approximately $600,000. We're also utilizing about $300,000 from unclaimed funds, also a one-time solution. And we have $875,000 from new revenue. This is how we're balancing the budget. With these budget solutions, we are able to maintain the services as is without making any service delivery cuts. And in addition to maintaining the services, we've also added, for example, 7 positions for the mediation response unit in our general fund and 3 positions for the permitting process. Those are just a few examples, but you saw we've added many more things in the general fund's budget in 2026. All right, so now we'll walk through the legal budget requirement. Our charter, section 156, says the commission shall adopt the budget by resolution prior to the beginning of the fiscal year. The Ohio Revised Code 5705.38 says the commission must adopt the original appropriation before April 1st. And the Ohio Revised Code 5705.41 and 45 says the city cannot incur expenses without a temporary appropriation. Before finally acting upon the appropriation ordinance, the commission shall fix a time and place for holding a public hearing. Following the public hearing and before its final passage, the appropriation ordinance shall be made widely available to the general public, which is written in our charter, section 157. And we'll walk through the timeline of that in just a little bit in the next slide. And then the RCGO section 49B.02 says the budget must be balanced with respect to the certificate of total resources and appropriation. And so here is our timeline. The public notice of the public hearing will be published in the paper on Sunday, January 11th, 2026. The appropriation will be published in its entirety on February 8th, 2026. This will be published in the Dayton Daily News, with first reading taking place on February 18th, and then the second reading taking place on February 25th. Which will give us an effective date for 2026 original appropriation, March 27th, 2026. Any questions?
Yes, before we do questions, just a couple of things just wanted to clear up. Of course, we did have this presentation last week, and again, for the commissioners to listen to all the details from different departments. Additionally, I wanted to sort of have you go back and highlight those dates for additional input opportunities for the community.
Yeah, so the The appropriation, or I should say the public notice, start with that. The public notice will be published in the Dayton Daily News on Sunday, January 11th, and then the appropriation will be published in Dayton Daily News on February 8th.
Okay, all right, I'm good. Additional questions, comments, commissioners? Commissioner Turner-Sloss?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Patel-Jones. I really appreciate the brief overview. Even though you covered a lot of information, it was very detailed, to be honest, and I appreciate that. And it, going through a number of the various different commitments and priorities, as well as the process itself. Just one question. Under the housing investments, the 9.6 remaining, could you speak to that a little bit? Under housing yes.
Yeah, so that is the total of all of the DRP funded projects that are listed on the slide. That equals to $9.6 million. That is just what's remaining in the Dayton Recovery Plan. And so we're going to continue the work from now on into 2026.
Okay. All right. And I think that's all I have. Thank you. You covered everything. I really do appreciate it.
Good shot. Okay, you good?
Yes.
Commissioner Fairchild?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Patel-Jones, for the presentation, but more importantly for the work, all the work that's gone on before it. And thank you for the update you sent in our packets 2 weeks ago, I believe,
Yes.
with that lined up the input, the commission inputs, or commissioner inputs with the budget, so I appreciate that. I was curious, because we talked about opportunities for upcoming input. Am I right to assume that the public hearing will coincide with the first reading, so February 18th?
No, public hearing takes place.
January 11th. No, that's when it's in the paper.
Public notice of the public hearing will be in the newspaper on the 11th, and then the appropriation will be published on February 8th. So between February 8th and the first reading, which is on February 18th, the appropriation is available to the public.
Right. I'm asking what date is the public hearing?
That will be on the first reading.
Okay, that was my question. All right, thank you. I just want to make clear that the public hearing will be on February 18th, coinciding with the first reading. All right, thank you.
Good?
Yep.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw?
No, I'm pretty much good. I just want to thank you. It seems like an awful lot of work, and I just appreciate you for making it so clear and for the work that you and your staff have put into this. So thank you.
A lot of work. Thank you, a lot of good work. Appreciate it. Commissioner Dixon, anything else?
That's all I have, Your Honor.
That's all you have? Okay. Ms. Blackshear, any citizens who are ready to speak?
None on calendar items. Your
Count items? Okay. All right. Commissioners, any additional questions, comments on city manager's recommendations?
I have none. Thank you.
Nope, I'm good.
Good? Okay. Then may I have a motion then to approve the city manager's recommendations?
I move to approve the city manager's recommendations.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to approve the city manager's recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. Legislation, Ms. Blackshear.
First reading ordinance number 32163-25, providing temporary appropriations for the ordinary operating and capital expenses of the City of Dayton pending passage of the year 2026 annual appropriation ordinance. First reading ordinance number 32164-25, authorizing the city manager to participate in the Ohio Department of Transportation for the MOT West 3rd Street Safety IMP project. First reading resolution number 6897-25, approving the city manager's 2026 operating and capital improvement budget recommendations, authorizing the necessary implementation actions. First reading resolution number 6898-25, approving the joint submission with the City of Huber Heights of a grant application and authorizing the acceptance of grant awards from the Ohio Department of Transportation under the Transportation Improvement Program for state fiscal year 2031. And that concludes the legislation, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Blackshear, any citizens who are registered to speak?
There are 7 citizens who have registered, and I would like to remind everyone of our 3-minute limit. I call to the podium Moss Dickey.
Good evening.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Moss Dickey, and I am a resident of the city of Dayton. Good evening, Mayor Adams, Commissioner Turner-Sloss, Commissioner Fairchild, and Commissioner Shaw, Clerk and City Manager. I've stood side by side with my fellow activists in petitioning this body to put forward and vote yes on the Safe Haven resolution, and for 2 months we have been told that someone will get back to us, that it needs to go through the legal process before it can be put before this body. Yet there's been no follow-through by any elected official in any meaningful way. This was puzzling to us given the track record of this commission, as was laid out the first time we petitioned you. Then one of us suggested that it might have something to do with the upcoming election, that the proposing and hopeful passage of this resolution was being delayed in an effort to court voters who would not appreciate seeing Dayton take this stance, even if only in words. And while I'm angered by this, I do understand it. Politics is a complicated game, and elections, I imagine, are very similar to when you have final exams or a competition coming up. They take over the mind with every waking second consumed by preparing for it. You put off tasks that otherwise you would have invested time and energy into. I only hope that when this election is over, we can turn our attention to those tasks that were put to the side. So, with what time I have left, I would like to talk instead about some of my complaints and compliments as a resident of Dayton. I'll start with a compliment. The people here are kind and extremely hardworking. I have not been harangued or accosted for being visibly trans while within the limits of the city of Dayton. In fact, the only time I've ever really faced that kind of adversity was in my own hometown of Centerville, when a woman took it upon herself to police who was using the bathroom in a Kroger. A complaint. The river is one of our most picturesque features. So it is such a shame that should one decide to take a walk along it, you will see more trash than you will birds. The bike pathways that were, I'm sure, once smooth and gentle are broken up and have divots in them. Also, there is a severe lack of benches along these scenic walks. A compliment. There are a great many bars anyone can go to enjoy themselves during the evening, from Yellow Cab to 5th Street Brew Pub, my 2 personal favorites. Complaint. Riverside Road on the west side of Dayton near the Career Center has long stretches of it that are without proper shade or benches for people to rest on. I see people of all ages walking along this road, and I feel for them, especially during the hot summer days when there is no respite from the rays of the sun. I'm a firm believer you can never have too many trees, and I encourage all of you to look into the benefits of placing trees near buildings and along streets. They are many and various. And finally, I'd like to finish with complimenting Sinclair University, which has remained a beacon of reasonably priced higher education. Now, is it cheap? No, but it is far better than private universities that charge you what used to be a mortgage to attend one semester. Dayton is not a perfect city. I wouldn't even say it is an amazing city, but it is a good city with a good heart and great potential. I look forward to working with whichever administration wins this upcoming election, and best of luck to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Alexander Stone.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record.
Good evening. Alexander Stone, 45405. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and Clerk. I'm here today to show my continued support for the Safe Haven resolution, which was presented to you a couple months ago. I understand you have many other topics that are at the forefront of your mind, and I hope you can understand that this is at the forefront of my mind. When there's a continuous push to restrict medicine which keeps me alive, I hope that you understand that this resolution is a priority for me. When it feels that the entire world is against my existence, I hope that you understand that even a simple resolution like this can add some peace of mind. As a proud resident of Dayton and of the beautiful Park Lane building, I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak to you all today. The time provided to us residents to speak directly with you is well appreciated. I do hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good luck with the upcoming elections. I wish you all the best of luck.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Tasha Roundtree.
Good evening.
Good evening. Before I get started, I just want to say, we had a meeting planned for October 25th.
Give me your name and address for the record.
This on y'all time,
Name and
'cause
address
y'all
for the
messed
record.
this up.
Name and address, Tasha.
Tasha Roundtree, 4609 St. James.
Thank you.
We had a meeting set up for October 25th. I paid Dayton Metro Library. We had a sponsor that paid, Thank the Teapot downtown, the coffee house. They paid for us to have the library because I'm in a community that has no library, no community center. And with having a meeting, we don't have a facility to have a meeting. So when having a large meeting with the city departments and all of the residents, I normally have to pay Mount Enon or one of the churches to host a meeting. So to have something that large, we went to the library. It was on a Saturday, and that's when they said, y'all didn't want to have a meeting on a Saturday because y'all would have to pay overtime. So I didn't get my money back, nor my catering money back, after we had already set up this October 25th date. Mr. Steve has been more than willing and more than helpful in his department. But community engagement didn't want to have this, and then Mike wanted to have it at somebody's house. Nobody's having 50 or 60 people at somebody's house. So we're still trying to get this together because as you see on your display, you all are investing millions of dollars into Wolf Creek. But if you don't have the residents ready and prepared with credit recovery, expungement records so that they can get into these new facilities, and that's what we were trying to do, is make sure that we had the meeting and with the residents there, make sure that we discussed who's going to be eligible to get into some of these housing. What resources are you going to need? If you have money to get the houses fixed and repaired, what are the services that you need? What are the information that you need? I can't do my part if we're not all working together. And so now we're trying to still get this meeting together so that we can offer the services, so that we can utilize all this money that you have for Wolf Creek. We need to make sure that the towns of Wright Dunbar know they're not in Wright Dunbar, they're in Wolf Creek. We need to make sure that the people who were homeless are housed with MVHO. The people who are renters are prepared to be homeowners. And the people who are homeowners who want to go up to those $300,000 homes are financially ready and prepared. So that means if we're a CRA, a community reinvestment area, you need to have Chase Bank sitting at the table saying, here's what you're going to need. I can't have a meeting with just us. We need to have the resources there that these people are going to need in order to qualify to get into these houses. I'm not having it at my house. Y'all not about to bring 60 people roaming through my house.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
But that's why I said that's what y'all's time, because y'all messed up my meeting.
No.
But what I came here to
You
say
have 3
is,
minutes.
Tasha.
Ms. Roundtree.
we cannot vote for this hospital
Ms.
because
Roundtree,
the language is not
Please
correct.
take your seat,
Ms.
Ms.
Roundtree.
If
Roundtree.
you do,
Ms.
all of
Roundtree,
this money is going to
Ms.
go to the
Roundtree,
general fund. The
please
language
take your
is not
seat.
written correctly. You are
Ms.
not
Roundtree.
going to get $20.
Ms. Roundtree,
And when the money.
Ms. Roundtree, please take your seat.
Y'all are on a.
Ms. Roundtree, please take your seat, or we have to have you escorted out.
Y'all are making a mistake, and I'm not getting my taxes increased. So if these churches are nonprofits,
Ms.
Ms.
Roundtree,
Roundtree,
get their money together first. Tell them to work together and get their money together first, where they increase our taxes, raising our taxes in our neighborhoods.
Kathleen Galt.
Kathleen Galt, 5066 Safeway Drive. Good evening to all.
Good evening.
I hope Ms. Roundtree actually reads the initiative. Anyway, so here we go. I'm reading
Ms. Roundtree,
from-
please.
I'm reading from a report that CareSource and Groundwork Ohio did in 2024 about healthcare in Montgomery County, healthcare access. So here's just a little section of it. The closure of Good Samaritan Hospital in Dayton has left a deep scar on the community, sparking ongoing discussions about trust, access, and equity in healthcare. Residents, healthcare professionals, and community advocates alike highlight the cascading impact of the hospital's closure, particularly on maternal health and primary care access, while reflecting on systemic inequities and the role of major healthcare players. Residents now face significant barriers such as lack of nearby facilities, limited transportation, and fewer healthcare professionals, particularly those specializing in maternal health. Even with some services absorbed by other facilities, the sense of loss and frustration remains palpable. While some acknowledge the financial rationale behind the closure, the decision continues to symbolize inequities for many, particularly in communities already grappling with systemic racism here in Dayton. So while we collected our 10,000 signatures on our petition to get this initiative for a publicly built hospital, we talked to over 10,000 people. I myself talked to 2,500 and another percentage of our 600 testimonials when we did the federal investigation. So we've talked to thousands of people from Northwest Dayton who told us incredible stories about the connections they have with Good Sam, the young women who were working in the hospital who now have to take buses over to Miami Valley because they don't have cars and they were able to walk prior to that. I believe, and many as well, believe that was institutional racism because it disproportionately affected the black community in negative ways. And that is, in fact, a definition of institutional racism. So I want to thank the 10,000 people who signed over our 4 rounds of collecting and sharing their personal stories about how the loss of that hospital affected them. I also want to thank all the people who helped us collect those signatures. We heard from students who had shadowed doctors and nurses and other healthcare professionals in the hospital. That program was in Northwest Dayton for young people. That program no longer exists for young people to shadow healthcare professionals at that hospital. We talked to nurses and doctors who actually believe it's absolutely institutional racism, who believe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for your comments.
Nancy Keel.
Hi, can you hand these to the commissioners and to the city manager?
Good evening.
Could you do that now? Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nancy Keel, 309 Hacker Road, Dayton, 45415. My mother went to the hospital at Premier North 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock in October. Premier North has 30 emergency bay rooms and 48 hospital beds on 2 floors. My mother waited 24 hours to be checked in. Every room on the floors above and every room in the emergency ward were packed for the 4 days she was there. In July, she was in the Miami Valley Hospital, and it was the same scenario. So from Tuesday to Friday, the staff were nonstop on a regular week in October. Last year, Premier Health canceled maternity services at at Upper Valley and Miami Valley South. Premier North does not have maternity services. Kettering-Scion Hospital recently canceled their maternity services. Grandview does not have maternity services. This is a county with the highest infant mortality rate in the state. Why is this? Money? Maternity care is not profitable enough? No transparency with corporate network hospitals for the people to be heard? Lack of government oversight, which means you? Have any of you figured out the role you have to play in this monopoly of care and your failure? Where is the plan for health care in the city and the county? Where is it in your budget? On Monday, I had the honor to attend this Democracy Summit where Pastor William Barber of the Poor People's Campaign spoke. Barber spoke about the loss of health care all over the nation, that health care is a fundamental right, a message the CCC and the Dayton community have been crying out about for years. Pastor Barber also spoke about those in power, that the policymakers, like yourself, are committing policy murder. Your decisions are causing people to die. Do you ever think of that? Do you ever wake up? So the false narrative, the lies created by the Wolpert report is destructive. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night with the realization that legislation you push, your votes, what you endorse or fail to endorse is life and death? Now, Pastor Barber is also about messages of hope. And so right now is the time to be courageous. The Dayton Public Hospital is a community hospital. It will have city and community members as board members. The mayor, and this is why this election is so important, will be the chairperson of the hospital board of trustees. While I was at Premier North, there was a cornerstone from Good Samaritan Hospital. I just gave you that sheet of paper. And it reads, in 1932, this plaque reads, in gratification, appreciation of the 10,563 generous citizens of Dayton, Ohio, whose contributions made possible this building. This was 1932. And then it says the Sisters of Charity. Here we are 100 years later. 10,000 people signed the petition. We hope with the generous support of Daytonians that they will repeat what was done before. So if you have any questions about the Dayton Public Hospital and Issue 9, please visit DaytonIssue9.org. That's DaytonIssue9.org. Please vote and bring your neighbors, friends, family, community out for Issue 9. And we are on the ballot this Tuesday, November 4th, and the time is now to vote yes on Issue 9 for the Dayton Public Hospital. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Bishop Cox.
Good evening.
Good evening, commissioners and mayor and city manager and the clerk of the commission. I'm Bishop Richard Cox, and I'm the president of the Clergy Community Coalition. And I'm also here to ask the citizens of Dayton to vote for Issue 9 on November the 4th. It was the citizens who signed the ballot initiative to cause this to get on the ballot. Healthcare is a grave concern in our community. I didn't see anything in your budget for health care. But when people who are ill, people who are poor, people who are indigent, people who work jobs but can't afford adequate health care insurance, it bothers them mentally, physically, and emotionally. You have people that you represent in this city who get sick but can't afford to go to the hospital, who have diseases, they can't afford to go to the doctor. This ballot initiative, if passed by the citizens, and we're asking all of the citizens in the city of Dayton, those who signed the ballot initiative to make it possible to get on the ballot, we're asking those, if you are registered to vote yes on Issue 9. Not only do we want you to vote yes, we want you to get everybody, because everybody and the citizens of Dayton who signed this initiative got it on the ballot. So the people have spoken. So many times when people speak and we come to politicians who are representing us, they don't hear what we have to say. They play us off. We make meetings and ask them to attend. They don't attend. You call them, they don't call you back. But I'm reminded you, this election is coming, we don't work for you. You work for us. And look at what you're doing when you come to representing the people who really need health care. Now, if you look at me, I'm chronically ill. That's why I'm fighting for it. You go to bed at night, you don't have to prop yourself up in the bed and sleep. I can't lay down, because if I do, I'm going to stop breathing. I'm one step from being on dialysis. I have to transfer from a walker to an electric wheelchair every day. Never thought that would ever happen to me, because I was a foot soldier in the civil rights movement. But now sometimes my arthritis is so bad that I have to have my home health aide help me put on my clothes, help me get in the shower. Can't stand up in the shower. I ain't stood up for 10 years. So this hospital is necessary. We're asking all the citizens of Dayton to vote for it in early voting, vote for it absentee, and go out and vote. And if it passes, we can make this happen. It can be a real good situation and a win-win for this city by bringing jobs to this city and adequate health care to the people who so badly need it. And when you go to the polls and vote yes. Release your nine.
Thank you for your comments.
That concludes speakers' comments, Your Honor.
Okay.
Point of order, I thought we had 7.
Yeah, yeah, it was 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rodney Stark.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Your
I'm
name and
Rodney
address.
Stark, 4526 Alfred Drive, Dayton, Ohio, 45417. Commissioner Fairchild, Shaw, Mayor Mims, Turner-Sloss, Commissioner Turner-Sloss, Clerk, and City Manager. This is my first time addressing the commission. I'm normally watching online. I am a disabled veteran, combat veteran. I have some mental health issues, PTSD, anxiety. So that issue earlier today, it kind of upset me a little bit, so I'm a little shaken. I don't normally like crowds. So I watch online. But I understand Ms. Ogletree and the situation, because I've made several calls to the city to express certain things, mainly the city manager's office, and they don't call you back. They don't get back with you. We're still trying to get a situation taken care of, which I brought to call the customer service line to report the issue at Hoover and Gettysburg. That's the Raleighs that closed. Okay, and way before it looks like it's looking right now. Okay, it's just amazing how we have police officers ride by there, we have city worker trucks ride by there, we have inspectors ride by there all the time, and they see it deteriorating and going down in our neighborhoods. It just seems like the city manager's office don't care about our neighborhoods. They don't get back with us. Yes, I spoke with the housing inspector. I actually spoke with the supervisor of the housing inspector at one of our meetings, community meetings. They say there's nothing they can do about it. I spoke with someone in the city manager's office. It's policy, it's ordinance, it's this, it's that. Oh, by the way, it's on Montgomery County. Montgomery County is the issue. Okay, if it's Montgomery County is in Kettering. You don't see this in Kettering. You don't see it in Oakwood. Somebody needs to talk with somebody. I'm a bridge. I like to try to resolve problems. I'm not trying to point blame. I'm trying to resolve problems here. If we need to change the city ordinance, it needs to be changed. Nobody should leave this close a restaurant without a plan in this city. That's what I think. But we let things get deteriorate, and then here we go. Steve Gongo had to come down here and tear down stuff and destroy stuff in our neighborhoods. That's my property value going down the drain. But I do want to bring I want to switch gears here, and I came here to give some compliments also. So I can't remember his name, but he's...
Can you address him to us?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. But I like to talk to who I'm going to give a comment to, though. Thank you, Mayor Mims. I want to give a compliment to your community engagement officer. He's a major. I can't think of his name, but his name just slipped me real quick. He was at one of our community meetings.
Mr. Starks, I'm sorry, your time is up. You're right, you got the red light.
Jesus. Okay. And so Commissioner Turner-Sloss, thank you.
Okay, I'll listen to you. We can talk at the end of the meeting, and thank you for your service.
No, that concludes speakers, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Dixon, any closing comments?
Your Honor, I would just like to let the commission know that today I met with Ms. Raya Megnan, who came here probably, a few weeks ago regarding the LGBTQ plus the Safe Haven resolution. We spent about 40 minutes talking through where we're at in our law review. As you know, we had the first round of, review and analysis by the law department. Commissioner Joseph came back and asked for some further gap analysis, which the law department has, going to go back and do. And the one thing I also assured Ms. Raya is that, we have been staunch supporters of the LGBTQ plus community for many, many years, and that, we spend this time so that we can compare and we can see how to make this fitting and appropriate for Dayton, because we have different laws on our books or in, and so we want to make sure that that analysis is thorough so that when we come back and do something, it has the intended impact to support the Q plus community. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew that I had that. She had reached out. We had a meeting. It was a great meeting and a good catch-up. And so I wanted to let you know that. And certainly I will talk with Mr. Stark after the meeting. It is obviously very frustrating when private property owners don't maintain their property, and Ohio state law is very protective of property rights, and the city does not have, unfortunately, until we can declare it a nuisance, the ability to even go onto that property. And that is usually when it becomes a nuisance and declared to be taken down. It is very frustrating for all of us, but I will look forward to that further conversation. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Blackshear, any closing comments?
I have none, Your Honor.
I have none. Commissioner Turner-Sloss, any closing comments?
Yes, thank you. Just would like to thank Ms. Pertel-Jones for her presentation, her briefing this evening, as well as Mr. Gondel and staff for all of the great work that they're doing in the Planning and Neighborhood Development Department. Thank you to all of the residents that came out. And Commissioner Shaw, thank you for having a conversation this evening with our civic scholars. Appreciate you doing that. And thank you all for being here and your engagement. Thank you again to all of those who came out this evening. Ma Sticky, thank you for your compliments as well as your critiques. You're absolutely right in some of the areas that we need to address in terms of the work that we're continuously doing for our tree canopies. I believe we have a grant, if I'm not mistaken, that for the tree canopy work that we're now, again, deploying that program. I think the window closed last week, if I'm not mistaken, for individuals who were interested in having trees planted in the curb lawn, the street lawn, excuse me, for their properties. But again, continuous work is ongoing for planting trees, as well as other work that's being done, to your point, around the river, cleaning up. That was one of Commissioner Fairchild's recommendation. I know that Ms. Dixon and the city manager's staff has also looked at ways and means for us to look at if, in fact, that's something that we could invest in, and if the pros and cons of that in terms of if we have the means to do so, the cost around that. And I can assure you that the work is being done in regards to the Safe Haven resolution. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, and note that it is not being pushed to the side, as Ms. Dixon has already mentioned, that the review has taken place, and there's additional work that is ongoing, excuse me. So we did receive some information, and there are some gaps that we're now going back and revisiting. So it's not falling on deaf ears. We're still doing the work. Alexander Stone, thank you for your comments as well. Appreciate you being here. Ms. Roundtree, I'm glad that you're back, just so we can get a little bit more information offline as to what we need to do to reschedule that meeting, understanding that Saturdays can be challenging, but we need to find out what the compromise will be, being that we don't, to your point, right, we don't want you to be out costs, whether it's for rental fees or the refreshments that you're able to provide. So again, I look forward to you having a conversation with you offline this evening. Ms. Galt, Ms. Keel, Bishop Cox, thank you for your continuous leadership and efforts. And I think the work that you all have done is commendable, being that you have been able to circulate a petition to gather over 10,000 signatures. So all the best to you all. Mr. Stark, thank you for being here. And I really appreciate your service and your leadership. And thank you for having the means to speak before and address the commission with your concerns. And I'm thanking Ms. Dickstein as well for having that conversation with Mr. Stark afterwards. You're exactly right in terms of the aesthetics of the city and really holding some of the property owners, business property owners, as well as residential property owners accountable for the upkeep and the maintenance of those properties itself. And I believe you may be speaking of Major Mullins. He is in fact the major in our PD Police Department who is over community engagement, if I have that right.
It's actually now Mr. Saunders, Paul Saunders.
That's right. You're right. It did change. Yes.
They made a change.
Thank you, Ms. Dickstein. So we would definitely take that back to Major Saunders. So thank you for bringing that compliment before us. And I do have one last thing brought to you by Ms. Reed. Bites and Benefits. The Recreation Department is hosting Insurance Talk for Seniors. Join us for an informative seminar designed to help seniors better understand their insurance options. Enjoy light snacks and refreshments while learning about different plans, coverage details. There are 3 sessions that will be held at Greater Dayton Recreation Center, November the 5th at 10 a.m., the Northwest Recreation Center, November the 6th at 11 a.m., Lowry Recreation Center, November the 19th at 11 a.m. And while we're speaking of Recreation Department, I would just like to acknowledge the hard work and the dedication of our Recreation and Youth Services Department. Another successful Harvest Night or Fall Festival. It was well attended. And kudos to all of the staff that participated. I know there were a number of organizations or departments, rather, that represented the event for the Fall Fest. So thank you very much. I know the families, the kids, they all enjoyed themselves. So kudos to the Recreation Department. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, for your comments. Thank you to the citizens who have come and spoken and those who have come to observe the City Commission. Appreciate your engagement with us and the work we do. I did have a question, Ms. Dickstein. I'm glad that you had the conversation with Ms. Magnin. In my understanding, Ms. Hudson from ABLE has been working with the Q+ community around the safe haven, and I don't know if it's Ms. Verboda or someone else as kind of the official representatives who brought that to us. Have we had any outreach with them? Or what's the next step of kind of reaching back out to Ms. Hudson?
I have not had any outreach with them because we've been going through the process with the review, and we've just reported at the meetings that we've had we're in the process of review. Ms. Magnin reached out to me because she wanted to be able to have conversation and facilitate some good conversation back and forth.
Sure. What should be the next step in terms of connecting back with Ms. Hudson? They were the ones who brought the safe haven ordinance forward. You would need direction from us, or?
I think,
No,
may I?
it's already with staff. As soon as they finish from the law department with the information, it will go directly back to them.
Well, we got one report
Right.
from staff, And have we communicated what we received from the law department?
No, there was not to my knowledge, because I
Okay.
give it to you all. And
Right.
then there were more requests from Commissioner Joseph
Okay.
to dig in and do that gap analysis.
Okay. All right. But
Good?
not yet. I still have more comments. I'm still trying to figure out, we need to give direction to the staff on next step in terms of responding back.
I'll
to
work with the Chief of Commission Office to make sure that there's some communication that lets them know where we're at in process.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to echo the comments on the fall harvest I got there. Our staff were great, working with the kids, with the families, engaging with them, as well as all of the activities. It's a good event, and it continues to grow. So kudos to our staff, and I'm grateful for all the community members who came out to participate on that. Likewise, kudos to the residents over in Grafton Hills. My family got to enjoy the Started Hill Pumpkin Glow last night. I don't know if it was new this year with the food trucks, but I'll give you a tip. Go there around 9 o'clock after the families have cleared out. You can enjoy the pumpkin glow and not wait long lines for the food trucks. So, little hack next year for your enjoyment. This Friday night is Beggars Night, 6 to 8, I believe, here in Dayton. So encourage everyone to be home and pass out candy to the kids as your neighbors come. But also, if you are out, be mindful of young ones running around, particularly cars who are stopping, going through neighborhoods and stopping, and just be mindful for our children that day. And reminder, early vote is going on now. You can vote tomorrow and Friday up to 7:30 at night. Yes. And then Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon, and then, of course, on Election Day as well. And then finally, for all of those who will observe All Saints Day over the weekend, may you have a meaningful All Saints Day, and it's an opportunity to remember those who have joined the great cloud of witnesses, and I'm mindful of both staff and people who have sat in these seats whose shoulders we sit upon. And so encourage people to take a moment over the weekend and be mindful of those who have gone on beyond, but who have left such a legacy to our community.
Okay, you good?
I'm good.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you for that. I just wanted to congratulate the Dayton Boys and Girls Club for a very successful Spark event last week. I spent the week with them in Louisville at their Midwest Conference, and they are recognized, Dayton is recognized as a leader, an innovator in the Boys and Girls Club space. So I just want to congratulate them and the leadership for all of their hard work. Krista Allen is a rock star and recognized as such in their organization nationally. So we are very lucky to have her in our community. The only other thing, the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission will hold meetings to update the public on the 2050 Long-Range Transportation Plan. This plan outlines multimodal strategies and projects, including highway, transit, and other transportation modes, to guide future regional investments and improvements. And you can join virtually via Zoom on the MVRPC website at plan2050.mvrpc.org on October 29th from 12 to 1 p.m., or attend in person October 30th from 5 to 6 p.m. at 6 North Main Street, Suite 400 in Dayton. I think people ought to take advantage of this opportunity to kind of chime in on the transportation efforts in our region. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, you good? All right, so while you are still a focus of attention, I do want to bring notice of the fact that you deserve congratulations, Commissioner Shaw, for winning the McGuire Foundation Minority Business Award. This award was presented to you just last week. Just wanted to make sure we recognize you for those efforts.
Thank you, Mayor.
And a birthday wish related to Ms. Blackshear for turning 39 again.
My grandson said 27.
There you go.
Oh, 27, okay.
Yeah, my grandson said 27.
Okay, all right. So again, congratulations to
Thank
you. Don't look a day over 27. Okay, so we'll let that rest. All right. got a variety of things. I was hoping my colleagues would cover as much. They did take a couple of things off my list, but I do want to share something very important for us right now to make sure I don't forget this, is that because of the government shutdown, many of our families are having some challenges, due to delays with SNAP and other types of benefits that come from the federal government. So we're asking for more and more of our citizens to sort of come together, churches and other organizations, sort of band together, much like we did with COVID, to make sure that we took care of each other and did the best we could to make sure all of our needs were met in those spaces. We're going to have a Monday at 10 o'clock a.m. a calling for religious and community organizations together to talk about where we are. It'll be a Zoom meeting. You'll get that information between now and then, of course, to make sure we can coordinate resources to address all those needs that citizens may raise because of the shutdown. We're just not sure where we are, what's going to happen, but it's not looking good. Next, kinship housing in Old North Dayton. I see Matt Tepper here. Just a great celebration and an opportunity to walk through and do tours of 3 different homes that were built in the Old North Dayton area, over close by Children's Hospital. This facility addresses the needs of a lot of young people who are being raised by their grandparents or members of the extended family, and making sure that those young people have a safe place to stay and to, of course, be able to be supported as best they can in that space. So again, I'd like to thank everyone who's involved with that, the county in partnership with the city, as well as with many, many other banks and other institutions who put in money into the pot to make sure we made this available for our young people.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, sir.
And Dayton Children's Hospital there, but more importantly, we were talking about the great cloud of witnesses. The kinship housing is going to be named for Don Vermillion, and many of you may remember him and what a great public servant he was, and longtime employee over at Montgomery County. And so,
yeah, I wasn't quite finished with my comments.
Oh.
I appreciate it. That's okay. That's okay.
All right.
There's one less thing I have to say.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. Additionally, last week, another celebration for Michael and Debbie Carter, the center named after them at Sinclair. Someone said university earlier. They're still at Sinclair Community College, but they function like a university. So again, great accolades to them. I'd like to thank Dr. Johnson, as well as, of course, the board for the great work that they did and taking the time and going out on the limb to support this tremendous, tremendous display that they have, African American display that covers so many points of history in our nation. Very important for you to get by and see that, and it is free. Okay. Additionally, the Boys and Girls Club was already taken care of. The trick or treat was taken care of. You took care of the pumpkin display. I think, let's see here. I think we got it. All right? I think we got it. So, November. We didn't get it all. Oh. So on November the 11th, the Veterans Day, which will be a Tuesday, I again will be preparing Jeff's world famous pancakes for all of the veterans who are employees of the city of Dayton. This is the annual event that we've been carrying on for probably about 12 years since I've been on the city commission. And so we'll be having that over at the water department, and we'll be sending out notifications again for all the veterans who work for the city of Dayton to come and take advantage of this great delight that we have as well. And we just had the NAACP award banquet this past Friday.
Yeah.
And it was, again, a great success, great speaker, Dr. Gordon, and again, a lot of individuals who were there to support the kind of messaging of how we can navigate through the challenges that we have at the federal level, local level, and state level. Because a lot of the things that we talk about so often are not generated here. We have, and those who are involved in government, which I'm glad you people were here from the program with Ms. White, that originate elsewhere because of the laws and regulations that we have to play by those particular rules. And coming together to work as a community puts us in a better space to work together to try to minimize some of those challenges that we have to experience on a regular basis. So, love and peace for all, hatred for none, with no further business to come before this commission, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.